appreciate you coming out and taking just a few minutes of your time to listen to a very important announcement. And you all know why you're here, but I think when Clyde ends up talking, I think you'll understand even more about why it's so important that we come out in this election in 2026 and bring everybody to the polls that we can to elect another congressman, because we know about the gerrymandering that's happening. We know about the continued pressure on governors and secretaries of state to change the maps. To now we're in a situation where the Supreme Court is considering, in the case of Louisiana, now we're in a situation where the Supreme Court is considering, in the case of Louisiana, doing away with the critical component of the Voting Rights Act. And it's very disturbing for obvious reasons, but it also shows that there are people in power that know no limits to what they'll do to maintain that power. It is not an ideology. They are not driven by a particular ideology. You can't measure it from a Democratic or Republican spectrum or any of the parties. Ideology, you can't measure it from a Democratic or Republican spectrum or any of the parties that you might see in between. Because power, corruption, and manipulation, and it has nothing to do with policy, okay? So it's absolutely critical that we are able to field candidates in critical and important races. I got to know Clyde in 2018 when a year prior I had run with Doug Jones for the United States Senate, and ended up working for Doug in his time in Washington. And I got to know on the campaign trail, because the Baldwin County groups were frequently together. We went to the same events, we met a lot of the same folks, and we spread out to every corner of our districts and got to know as many people as possible. And immediately when I met Clyde, something clicked with me that said, this is a different type of candidate. He cannot be defined by an ideology. He cannot be defined by a candidate. He cannot be defined by an ideology. He cannot be defined by a set of demographics or any factors that another makes pin him down. It rises above those issues. And he's a man of character, and he's a man of grace, and he's extraordinarily humble. You know Clyde, you know what I'm talking about. He's somebody that's approachable. Now, I don't have to tell you, we don't have a representative like that in the 1st Congressional District in this state. And it's been a long time since we have had that. We've had a congressman representing this district that walks in lockstep with this current administration. And I call them rubber stamps. And that's what we have, a lot of rubber stamps in Washington right now. But their point of pride is never going against the grain, never using their own mind and their own critical thinking to make a decision for what's in the best interest of their constituents. They're more worried about party. I can promise you that the values that Clyde Jones has belong in the party he's running in, but you can't define it completely by that. He has service in the military, distinguished service. And he's a very humble man. He doesn't like to talk about the Bronze Star that he won, or he was awarded. What he does like to talk about are his friends and the people that he served with and the mission that was noble and noteworthy. He was one of the few candidates in 2018 that knocked on every door in his district. And he wore out, I'm sure, a couple of pairs of shoes in that process. And sometimes he went back twice. And that's what we need. Somebody that's willing to meet us where we live and where we work. And so it is with great honor that I have the privilege to introduce to you the next congressman from Alabama's 1st Congressional District, Clyde Jones.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jason. Good afternoon. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jason. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, my family, friends, some media, this is just people of the Lord. Thank you for being here this afternoon. My name is Clyde Jones, and I believe strongly in the constitutional principles that this nation was founded on. And I believe strongly in the constitutional principles that this nation was founded on. Thank you. I am a husband, a father, and a grandfather. Thank you. I am a husband, a father, and a grandfather. Today I'm a proud resident of Alabama. There's nothing like being proud about where I'm a public servant. As you know, I'm a public servant. As you know, as we get to know each other in the next weeks and months during this campaign, we'll ask the questions of our nation. And we'll never back down. I have led soldiers on the battlefield, serving Operation Desert Storm, Operation Iraqi Freedom. Decorated soldier, as Jason said, who has proudly served my country. But there's more I can do. And here today is an extension of that pledge. And here today is an extension of that pledge. I wanted to receive the Bronze Star for distinguished service in combat. But it's those brave men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice that I often think about, which motivates me to continue to drive on and do more for this country. I was fortunate to attend and earn a bachelor's degree from Excelsior University. I know no one in here knows where that is, but it's in Albany, New York. And I have almost two decades worth of business and manufacturing experience in operations and safety. And I have almost two decades worth of business and manufacturing experience in operations and safety, as well as training. I served the last 2 years as president of the board of directors for a nonprofit that has spent years helping people up and not putting people down. Friends, I have seen firsthand how devastating impact of these massive budget cuts have left community leaders struggling to find out what to do, how to react to these cuts. Hurting not only the organization entity, but in many cases, devastating the noble mission that these nonprofits undertake. In my times of quiet reflection, I've searched my own soul in many occasions, drawing closer to my faith. In times when things were going well, and in the times when things are not going so well. That's one of those times that we're in right now. My service to others extends to my spiritual work as associate minister in a church not far from where we stand today. Our role that faith plays in our community not as a vehicle of judgment, but as a pillar of hope upon this community finds the strength to stand strong and persevere. With all that on the line for our nation and our district in South Alabama, slipping out the back door to avoid the tough from voters during the town hall meeting. To avoid the tough from voters during the town hall meeting. I promise to you that I will look you in the eye and listen to your thoughts no matter what political group you identify with. I will shake your hand and give you a straightforward response that we deserve from all of our elected officials. The GOP candidates who have announced their candidacy for the seat continue to voice their unwavering support for a set of unsound fiscal policies that will inflict significant financial pain on every family in Alabama's first congressional district and the country as a whole. My friends, allowing the health care credits to expire at the end of the month without renewal is physically irresponsible and would create the most significant increase in health care premium seen in over a decade. Realistic studies by nonprofit organizations project a doubling of private health insurance premiums, a large surge in total out-of-pocket annual health care costs. On this 15th day of this government shutdown, it is our elected officials, if our elected officials fail to demonstrate the competent leadership required to find pragmatic solutions and avoid this catastrophe, the financial ramifications and skyrocketing healthcare costs will happen to hardworking Alabamians, and they will be struggling to survive. Let me make it clear. We must harbor no distinction between the sitting members of Congress who allowed this to happen and those candidates seeking to take their place who will run on an identical political and physical management platform. We must have the courage to elect people to Congress whose bond is greater to you, the constituents, and the hardworking people of Lower Alabama than it is to a political party, to big money interests that require absolute allegiance and complete loyalty. There is a better way forward for our democracy. One that is not focused only on what an individual can do, but extending our grace to those less fortunate, the poor, the disabled, the infirm, the poor, the disabled, the infirm. The America I grew up in had its challenges. No society is perfect without challenges. But when I was younger, those challenges were met consistently by elected leaders with a commitment to collaborate and to find a solution. Not to demonize those who simply see things a little different or had different experiences. My friends, we cannot continue down the path of political demonization and personal attacks. Down the path of political demonization and personal attacks. We must send a message that the dark ages of modern American politics will soon be over. We the people must never represent a time rooted only in the past, but permanently looking forward to the principles of our entirety for our future. Used to strengthen the greatest democracy, indeed the greatest nation in the history of our world. in defense of our enduring principle that the United States, through sacred, shared opportunities, would prosper most when our nations maintain the core belief that our government should forever remain of the people, by the people, and for the people. Let us begin the work. Let us begin the work tonight. I am Clyde Jones, and I want to be the next congressman from Alabama's 1st District. Thank you for being here, and may God bless you.
We have some refreshments, we have some food, please. We have some refreshments, we have some food, please. Feel free to mingle, and Clyde will be happy to answer any individual questions you have. And if you haven't met him, this is a perfect opportunity. You can see he's very passionate about public service, and we're very fortunate to have him as candidate in this race, the opportunity to elect him on November 3rd. The materials that you may have picked up at the front with your friends, talk to them about the campaign. Talk to them about how to get involved. You know, you're going to see a lot of visibility. Will be on Facebook and various social media platforms. You can visit his website at clydeforcongress.com and encourage other folks over the next several weeks to get to know him virtually, and then try to find an event that he's speaking at so that they can talk to him as well. I want to thank everybody again for coming out. Now enjoy the opportunity to mingle, talk a little bit, and hopefully get a chance to meet Clyde. Thank you.